Hi all, welcome to my channel, Cathryn Reads Books, and today I'm going to be talking about a book called The Seven Sisters by Lucinda Riley. It is a chunky creature and I've had this on my to be read pile for a while. I'm one of those people that take a book from a library. I'm a bit naughty like that. However, I've been wanting to read this book for a long time, and I was in the library and I stumbled across it. It's the first book in the series. I think there's about 6 or 7 of these, so I was really excited to see it there. And I have to admit, I don't know what this book was going to be about, but I thought it was going to be a bit more, I don't know, a bit more fantasy, but it is not fantasy at all. However, I fell in love with the storyline of this. So there are 6 sisters, and this book is kind of sets up the series, and I can imagine that each book follows a sister. However, there are 6 sisters. They are all adopted. They don't know their biological parents. They don't know where they came from, and they live in this very wealthy world with their dad and their housekeeper, who's also technically a bit of a mother figure because she brought them up from children. They're in their 20s now. They're grown up, and unfortunately, the story opens with the father dying, and he dies in a weird way, and I'm sure it might come clearer once you've read more of the books, but he dies when the sisters aren't there, and he has quite a set way of his will and what he wants to happen after he's gone and what information he wants to outlay to the girls. So obviously they're all adopted, so he gives each daughter kind of an envelope and some clues to where they're from. So it's up to them if they wish to find out more about their heritage and where they are from. And the oldest sister is Maya. They're all named after the stars, and which I think is really lovely. And yeah, the first one is Maya, who is a bit of a homebody, and she deciphers the clues that her father gives her and ends up in South America. And it's just a wonderful story, and she goes and travels to where she is originally from and tries to find more out about her biological family, her parents, and it's the history of her family that get interlinked with the story, and it's really interesting, really beautiful. It was great to hear more about Brazil and the history of the country. It's not a country that I know much about, but it's all based on that big statue of Jesus and how that was created. I don't know whether it's true, but I can imagine it's based a little bit on the true story and how they got a sculpture from France to design it and how they transported it. But it's all about the romance links that happen in that story, which then makes Maya come into the world. And it's just a really beautiful story. I did think it could have been a bit more pacier. So it's a real chunky book. It's 600 pages, and I really enjoyed the story, but I did think it could be a little bit shorter. Will I read the other ones? Potentially, as long as they're not as chunky. So I'll have to make sure that they're not as chunky, but I can imagine that they get better as they go. So if you have read this series, I'd love to know your thoughts if they do get better as they go on, because I'd like to know if it's worth my time, because I do want to find out about the other sisters, and I really want to find out more about the dad. So yeah, would I recommend it? Yes, I think I would. If you have the time to invest, I think. It's quite a chunky book, as I've been saying. And it's just quite interesting hearing about Brazil and the history of it. So I enjoyed that part a lot. So yeah, that is my thoughts on The Seven Sisters by Lucinda Riley. Please let me know if you've read this book or you're planning to read it and what your thoughts are. Please like and subscribe my videos. I am quite new to YouTube, and I would love to hear your thoughts and feelings on this channel and what you'd like to see me video more of. Thanks all.